Sim racing, a new boom sport. Virtual races on simulators, speed, adrenaline, battles. This sport has everything racing needs. The first Racing Unleashed Masters recently took place in Chern, Switzerland. At 30,000 Swiss francs, it has the highest prize purse for an event of its kind. A completely new racing series with a futuristic generation of high-tech simulators. In this deceptively real racing simulation, the drivers race each other on the virtual Formula 1 racetrack circuit Zandvoort. So what is the concept behind this new racing series? Monisha Kaltenborn, CEO of Racing Unleashed, explains her vision. I may begin with our vision. We want to make motorsport accessible to a wide audience, and it should be fun. Of course, no matter what criticism you hear about motorsport today, the fascination for speed, technology and the risk of it is still there. It's important to implement this in today's world in which digitalization plays a role, sustainability plays a role, but no one wants to take unnecessary risks. This is the kind of thing that the young generation is interested in. Kaltenborn was team manager of Sauber during her Formula 1 years and now brings this experience to Racing Unleashed. It's very important to know what the real world looks like, in my case the Formula 1 world. You want to make this world as realistic as possible, but in the virtual world, and you have to know what makes an experience real. To represent reality as best as possible is the ultimate aim. This requires experience above all. Andrea Montemini has gained this experience with 29 Grand Prix as a driver in Formula 1 and knows exactly what hybrid sport is.
Hybrid sport, I think, is more and more the future because obviously more people want to be involved in this kind of situation. I mean, people that never jumped in a real race car have the opportunity to do something that is quite easy to find out, and then they have the possibility to do what they would never do in real life.
Le Mans driver Gary Hirsch also sees real racing as a benefit.
We see a little shift. You see the same type of population shifting from the go-karts to the simulator, where you see the top 5, which is really close, and then you have more disparity. But obviously people can improve, and thanks to the simulator they can practice more and more, so they tend to become more professional at this type of levels.
Sim racing, of course, also produces a new generation of drivers.
Simon Danner, 28, Buchs.
I drove in all the races except Catalonia and always ran very well. It was always a top 10 result for me. My best place was 6th at the Nürburgring, then I was 8th at the Red Bull Ring and 10th at Silverstone. I was happy to be in the top 10, but the top drivers are still too strong. But with more practice I will get better and move up the rankings.
5 bis 6 Stunden in der Woche. Roger Malte, 25, Moos.
Mein Highlight war der 5. Platz in Imola. Die Strecke kannte ich vorhin.
I would say that my highlight was 5th place at Imola. I didn't know the track before, but I had enough time to train there. It was the first race where I made no serious mistakes. I think I lack consistency. One lap is really fast, then the other 4 laps are half a second slower. That was certainly the case at Imola.
Und die anderen 4 sind dann einfach so eine halbe Sekunde langsamer. Das war in Imola zum Beispiel oder nachher auch bei weiteren Rennen nicht der Fall.
Dustin Wüst, 37 Jahre alt, aus Udligenswil. Der Höhepunkt war ganz klar der zweite.
Well, the highlight was clearly the second place I took in Barcelona. I think the low point was when I got bumped out of the race before that. For me, it's also a personal highlight that I was able to improve constantly over the whole year. I got better and better and faster, and I realised that the hard training had paid off.
Da habe ich schon gemerkt, dass sich das harte Training ausgezahlt hat.
Michael Schmiel, 24 years old, live in Czech. My target was to be a real race car driver. I was also at GT Academy 2014. I was really close to be a Nissan factory driver, but I didn't end up in the finals too well. Yeah, that was my only chance because it's quite expensive, and I'm not from a rich family. My father always wanted to have me in the real car. The times were quite difficult for us, especially at the beginning when I was born. So there was no chance to be a race car driver. And at the moment, I'm only concentrating on sim racing because it makes sense.
Well, it's race day, and of course eyes are on Felix Herziger, the winner of last year's championship with 115 points. Compared to the other drivers, he's one of the drivers who's also racing in a real race series. Here at Racing Unleashed, the best 30 drivers of the season come together for the Masters. The top 16 will be whittled down based on their fastest lap times, and from the quarterfinals onwards they'll compete against each other in a direct duel. In the Racing Lounge in Cham, 5 simulators are available for parallel driving. 4 are used for these Masters finals. The Racing Unleashed Masters use the integration of real physical moments, such as a 5-point seatbelt system which tightens and generates pressure when braking, and an original Formula 1 shift paddle steering wheel. There are also vibrations in the cockpit when the racetrack is uneven. The driver feels all of this directly. To make the race as realistic as possible, a lot of development was necessary to bring the simulators to this level. The technology behind this is complex.
We can start from the steering wheel because we have the same functionality in the Formula 1 and the same sides and the same feeling when you change gear, when you go down with gear, when you go up in gear. It is made in carbon, like real Formula 1. You can feel the real cockpit when you stay in seat.
Especially the wheel is quite different compared to what I'm used to because it's from carbon fiber, and especially the pedals, if you press them, it's quite hard to press it, so you need to have a strong hand. And pedals itself, when you are braking and we are accelerating, is quite sensitive, so you need to be careful what you're doing. All in all, it's quite realistic, I would say.
The most important feeling in the pedal is the brake. You have to put the correct amount of energy like in Formula 1. So the feeling is really close to the Formula 1 pedals.
The technology goes ahead, so everything can be proven every day. And what is very important, especially with Luca, which we work together in many areas to when we improve and we develop the simulator since 10 years, it's getting closer and closer and closer more to real situation. Obviously, will never be the same thing as a driver of a Formula 1 car, but we're getting closer, closer and closer. And at the end of the day, there is a machine and there is a driver, a real driver, a human being that transfer feelings to you, and then you have to modify to get improved.
In the first semi-final, Roger Martz is in pole position in black, ahead of Polesny in yellow. Third and fourth place are Herziger in green and top favourite Schmiedl in white. The semi-finals are scheduled for 20 minutes and the top 2 advance to the final. The favourite Schmiedl will be hoping he can fight his way through the field. However, it's going to be difficult as Martin in the black fights for his position. There are several leader changes throughout. But in the end, Schmiedl and Herziger advance into the final. In the second semi-final, Simon Danner in black ahead of David Ladamada in yellow and Christoph Holstein in green. Dustin Wurst starts last.
He obviously approached in the best way because he had a chance to understand many things that obviously are not used for a new people, and he gained a lot of new things, and also gained a lot of driving technique that he could apply in his activity, and he became much better.
The second semi-final is also very close. Wurst passes Holstein, but then a driving error forces him back to fourth. He's clearly not happy with the mistake. Holstein then touches Lademade. It's clear to see that all drivers are under a lot of pressure. Wurst takes the lead and defends it until the finish line, with Dana just behind in second place. So on to the finale of the event. Schmidl sits on pole in front of Hörsiger in yellow, Wurst in green and Dana in white. Which of these four will take the 30,000 Swiss francs? The experts see Schmidl as the favourite, as he has the most experience in sim racing and has had the best lap times throughout the day. Hörsiger is also a contender, but you can't rule out Dana or Wurst, although they have an outside chance of a win. A smile from Wurst shows he's really enjoying the racing and does well to avoid Dana, who crashes into the barrier. This really is a thrilling final and a great spectacle to watch. In front from the very start, Schmidl is simply too strong, too constant. He drives a start to finish victory. The hard work over the last few years have finally paid off.
I'm speechless, to be honest, full of emotion, and we worked really hard during the season to achieve this, and that was our goal today, and we made it.
Michael Schmidl takes the win ahead of Felix Hörsiger and Simon Dana, a successful premiere of the Racing Unleashed Masters.